Flemington, and we've got a Melbourne expert in. Not that we haven't had Melbourne experts previously, but Julian, or JJ, is here with us to preview this Flemington meeting. Thanks for coming on board, Julian.
Thanks for having us, Mark and Gordo.
A Melbourne expert in. Haven't had Melbourne experts previously.
No, somebody's rung up the radio station and left the radio playing, have they? It's not me.
It's a trap for young players. Gord, how does it look to you on Saturday, Flemington?
Probably a multiple horseplay scenario, which, I like to just stay in my company spot when there's just one obvious bet. But look, I think there's some mistakes in the market. Saying that, the mistakes aren't really on the ones that I'm super keen on, so I'm hoping for some blowers. And
Julian, lots of ranters would know you from the Milesy Melbourne Mail some 12 months ago and earlier. But just give us a refresher on what you've been up to.
Yeah, sure. I sort of got into the game as a young kid, got taken to the track in the spring, so sort of followed it since then. Always enjoyed having a bet, and sort of got a bit more serious last 5 or 6 years, and sort of educated myself in as much as I could, and found you guys and learned a lot from there, and took a bit more seriously and had sort of refined my approach to it. So Melbourne and Sydney I focus on mainly.
Okay, and you've managed to find 3 kids along the way just to make your life a bit harder?
Yeah, just throw that degree of difficulty in, and find plenty of time to try and do it. So, yeah.
That's a great excuse for the wife, but mate, because, I got to work. We've got to find some winners, darling. Yep. You take the kids and give me some quiet time.
Work from home's helped.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think a lot of guys have really started putting a lot more time in with the COVID scenario, which is great.
Yep.
It's a bit of a perfect storm, really, isn't it? What have I done with my markets here? So I've even been through the jump outs here in race 1, Gord, would you believe? There are...
Hey, isn't it good that they're doing those in racing.com now? They've finally got some of the jump outs there.
Yeah. Finally, still the VRC ones aren't linked through the site, so...
Yeah.
Right, so what have you... Yeah, okay. I've only seen the ones on YouTube from the VRC.
Yeah, racing.com have links, say, for the Cranbourne ones, Pakenham, direct through, but the link to the VRC ones seem to fail every now and then, so then you have to search that individually.
Dig them out.
Still don't have the central one source of truth.
Yeah, because, I mean, what's that place called that I was looking at the other day? Is it called the Jumpouts or something like that? Is that the one, JJ? Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, I use Race Club. They seem to link it to Jumpouts for free, and that brings everything up. So that's what I use.
Beautiful. Okay. That's great info.
Yeah.
Because I've been jumping
good.
around all over the spot trying to find them.
Pardon the pun. There is a $1.5 million horse, the filly. They're barring up on the fillies. Obviously, the residual value is pretty good. This Charmstone cost $1.5 million or more in the first race with Jamie Carter ride. She is favourite, but I'm going to show you her jump out after I show you Aditi and Beluga Express go round on the steeple grass. So let's see what we can do here.
Look out, Mark's got some new toys now, JJ. Hey? Glenn is going to be devastated. The show's going to go even longer now.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Well, I need to torture him, really. He's got now that he's turned 60. Anyway, these 2 horses, Aditi and Beluga Express, are in red colours, and there's a third horse in this jump out, Cracker Rib. Yeah, that's it. It's one of those 2 in the navy jacket with the white sleeves. But the Gabot horse is the black
red
cap.
Colours.
Yeah, red colours, black cap, I think, and Beluga Express for the hazes is back underneath it. And this was in 47 seconds, which was the fastest jump out on the day was 46.9. So it was sweet enough. This Aditi cost $310,000 as a weanling, which sounds like a lot of money for a baby. And that's the end of it, Gord. They just go round to the...
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. Seriously, pick your act up, Victoria. Seriously.
Well,
it's interesting there, Mark, that they've let, obviously they're not all Flemington trained horses. They've let the Mick Price horse to trial there.
Okay.
From Cranbourne, so must have been based off, if you're nominated for the race.
Okay.
Yep.
The other one I wanted to show you is, of course, the now I've lost my place. The other one. This is riveting television. But last Thursday they had jump outs down the straight, and the Charmstone, which is the Mick Price horse that you're referring to, Julian, is in Heat 1. So let's see if we can get.
Come on, JJ, give us commentary.
Now, how easy is it to pick these horses out?
I need coloured flashing light.
The second and third horses from the outside. So Mount Olympus is now the widest, and I think Charmstone is sort of just underneath it. There's another horse gone back behind them. So they're the two widest on the track. Mount Olympus on the outside, and Charmstone in what looks like a black cap just underneath it. And they will go to line together, but Mount Olympus will win the jump out coming down the outside. Pretty wound up. It's starting to get revved up already. This heat was in nearly 49 seconds, which was a second slower than some of the other jump outs on the day. This is the $1.5 million filly underneath in the black cap, and Mount Olympus is a $150,000 classic sale horse.
I tell you what, to take $3.75 off a trial like that, you can be guaranteed that the $3.75 comes off the price at sale. rather than the jump out.
Yeah, so I mean that's interesting, isn't it? It doesn't look like much of a hit out, but they'll be going to the races expecting big things from this expensive horse. Have you got any interest in this race, JJ? I've gone and bored everyone with a bit of jump out.
That's fantastic, Mark. I think that's brilliant what you did then. That's great.
No, that's the first time I've seen those jump outs. I just left it for now. I'll have a closer look on the day, I think, but. 2-year-olds up the straight for the first time. At least those have had that experience, but a lot of unknowns.
Well, I would expect the Gaybot horse, which is currently second favourite, $4.60, to be a more reliable sort of stake in that race. If you were prepared to play it. Race 2 is an interesting race because...
I'll just mention one thing there, Mark, that I wasn't impressed with any of the Melbourne trialers, so I was just going to go Blue Fresh is going sensational at the moment, and they're both really long odds. So, look, you only need small plays when one of them's 15 to 1, the other's 20 to 1. So,
the Zulfikar came out of one of the faster heats on the official trials. Obviously, did drop out a bit. Got beaten 5 1/4. Yeah. And the other blue colours, it ran second in its heat, in the faster heat on the day that Charmstone and Mount Olympus went around.
Nothing impressive about the favourites, and we got a stable on fire with a couple of longies, mate. I reckon it's worth a small play. At least one maximum bet at top odds, which is to win 2,000, guys.
Speaking of that, did Jake get up and running tonight? I
didn't look. Let's not talk about it.
It went through all fine.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's great news. Great news. I'll ring him later on then too, because I rang him last night and I really didn't know what to say. So.
All right,
anyway,
race 2.
Let's find some winners.
Race 2 is 1,400 metre. This is listed race for 4-year-olds and up. Visionary $2.30. The Garden $4. I Am Benet $7.50 and Character $8. They're the only 4 in the market. The ratings to win. Speed map says above average speed with the Garden in the van. Visionary handy with Mr. Exclusive on its outside. They've got Viral next best along the rails. Do you do your own maps, Julian?
Yeah, I do. And just to note, I Am Benet's out, scratched. So Visionary's sort of flipping the odds into odds on now.
Yep. Okay. All right. And how does that map sound to you? Obviously, that's an automatic map that I'm reciting.
Yeah. So I had the Garden leading and Visionary outside lead, and I thought they'd just be controlling the pace there. So I guess just touching on the track, so rail out 9, good 3. There's even talk that they might put some water on it to make it not too
We
firm.
can send some down if you like.
Yeah. So but yeah, perfect conditions. It's best track in Australia, pretty fair. So yeah.
I note that they tried this setup last year where they went out 14 for the, I'll call it a midweek meeting. It was run on a Sunday this year. Went out 14 and then back into 9 because you don't often get the 9 with the rail coming back in.
No, this would be the only time they do it. But yeah, the further out at Flemington, the easier it is to lead or come from the on pace. True's generally really hard to lead unless you're a good horse.
I did note that this meeting last year, which was on that setup, the 9 metre rail, did favour horses in the front few.
Yep. So I think it's definitely an advantage, but if you're good enough, you could come over the top of it.
It's always an advantage to be on pace.
Yep.
To what degree?
Yep.
And Julian, are you interested in this race too? It seems like a light race, shall we say?
Yeah.
Light on chances.
Yeah, I was hoping Iron Benet was still in the field because I was really against it. But yeah, just Visionary was clear top pick for me. It's had obviously off the winter campaign. It's had 2 jump outs. Looked really good in those. I thought Carr just comes across, sits outside the lead, and controls the race and wins. A couple of big odds that I thought were over the odds and blowout chances were Riddle Me That. So It's had a long break, had 3 jump outs. Second one was really good and stylish, and I thought could run a race at sort of $23, $26. And also Mr. Exclusive down the bottom there. I thought could run a race. Sort of will go forward, and yeah, it's probably double the odds it should be.
It's all right. So it sounds like you're opposing the second pick there, the Garden, which has got a bit of Sandown form. Is that it's obviously Sandown midweek? Are you thinking that it's perhaps under the odds conveyance in the race?
Yeah, I just thought Visionary would go past it. Clear second pick, but thought Visionary's probably go on to group races after this in the spring.
Stepping stone. Yeah, well, it's really only had the 5 starts because Sam Kavanagh, I don't know what he was doing with it. He had 2 starts with it. Gord, any interest here for you?
No, I'll leave this one to JJ.
All right, sounds like he's got it under control. The fillies, the Edward Manifold is race 3, and we've got not a lot of form here, I must say. She's Lickety Split got well beaten after a wide run there in the lead-up. She's $3 and favourite Sumatra, who touched her off in that race, is $5. Typhoon Titmus, $6.50. Do It La, 10, and Moko, which we've seen a bit up here in the autumn, is $11. And the official maps, the automatic maps, suggest an average speed with Celestial Spirit, the gay bot, searching forward. That seems likely. She's Lickety Split's got the blinkers on and looks to push forward as well. Do It La and Taj Need have some speed. What do you got to say about the map, Julian?
Yeah, the bit of pace from outside. Yeah, Do It La and Celestial Spirit coming across. So didn't think they'd loaf. They'd sort of come across and even tempo there. And
do you like this race?
I didn't spend too much time in it on it. I guess Moko wasn't given much chance first up at all. So Carr goes on. I think will be in the finish. And the other one I sort of like was As Time Goes By. Deep Impact filly, sort of was taken over to Adelaide on debut in a group race, and then quickest last 600 in that race at Sandown.
So how do you? So I see that 4 of those horses basically went across the line together. Taj Need, As Time Goes By, Foxy Cleopatra, who's in at Moonee Valley, and Whispering Lady. You've got a clear preference for the one you mentioned?
Yeah, I just thought sort of on the firmer surface and sort of settle a little bit closer from barrier 1, just at the odds that.
And I guess the pedigree going up to the mile. Gord, anything for you here?
This is just like a beautiful race. This is one of the number one things you need to sort out in your whole assessing form races, and that is, do you give more of a tick to the horse who did the work on speed, or do you give more of the tick to the horse bludgeoning out the back that came home nicely? And that's 1 and 3. 1 and 2. 1 and 2, yeah. And I couldn't make up my mind, to be honest. She's Lickety Spit did a little bit of work, and Sumatra was powerful. I'd say from about the 2 to the 100, I would have given the big tick to Sumatra over She's Lickety Split. But that last sort of like 20 metres, it seemed like She's Lickety Split was sort of coming again. So saying all that, I couldn't separate them. So I normally when I do something like that, I look for a little bit of
DF.
A little bit of DF, a little bit of freshness, a little bit of lightly raced, and I've gone for a different one out of the lead up JJ's found as time goes. I'm going with Taj Need, to be honest. I like the fact that J-Mac rode it in the trial in Sydney. It was actually a really nice trial. It goes down there. It did quite a bit of work, and I thought was sort of like quite strongish through the line. I know it got a good run there, but still. And I get a positive jockey change too. So I get Damien Oliver off for Josh Parr on, which is an extra 1.5 points off my data, particularly off recent figures. But I'd suggest you should scale that back a little bit for the fact that it is at Flemington and not in Sydney. But look, it's 20 to 1, guys. So I don't need to find more. It's had 1 start, it's had 1 win. I like the trial. A good lead that it might have some ability that J-Mac rode it in the trial. Josh Parr riding really well at the moment. And the fact that, what are they taking up? 1 and 2, 32 and 18. So they're taking up 50% of the market, and I'm not quite sure that's the Rockstar stuff, although it may well be. I was against Typhoon Titmus, JJ. I was going to ask you about it because you'll have more of a guide on that than I will, but
a dead set. You could have thrown a tissue over those horses when they went across the line there last Sunday.
Yeah.
It was just, oh my god!
I think it's just the quick backup. They gravitate towards it. I had the same approach as you, God. Just probably speccing a couple of those at the double finger odds and
low confidence race.
Yeah,
worth a play.
The other two coming out off the heavy track.
I want to ask you about Caulfield, which is obviously a bit of a feed into this meeting 2 weeks ago. It was the meeting where you got the heavy rain during the 3-year-old race, and the track obviously fell apart a bit. Not as much as they do up here, but what do you make of what happened at Caulfield, and which horses were disadvantaged by what went on?
I think, I wouldn't be trusting the form too much. I think, it's basically, if you're up the front there and could handle it, you just kept going, and then some came from the back, and then some others just didn't handle it at all. So, got to
it's hard to read. Let's look at race 4, which is Mare's Race, and Pride of Jenny, who is looks like a solo leader here, $4.80, yearning $4.80. Genty at $5.50 off the break, and Odium off long spell $9 with a Fortunate Kiss 10, Exalita at $11. I mentioned Pride of Jenny, who looks to control, and then there's 3 pushing forward: Tycoon Evie, Surlio Miss, and Fortunate Kiss. It appears that the 2 in attendance, the betting with Pride of Jenny, are well back in the ruck. Is that how you saw it, Julian?
Yeah. I sort of hadn't spent too much time on this race, but just had. Sorry, you had Pride of Jenny rolling forward. I thought
clearly,
yeah. And then you've got some question marks around Shiloh Miss. That's gone forward in the past, but drawn out wide. Odin can go forward. So, a few question marks about intent for those first up horses.
Yeah, any interest here?
No, I thought, yeah,
Uh,
too hard for me. Yeah, you sort of got Yearning, who hasn't won for a long time. Obviously, good first up, and then yeah, few first up horses that will have targets further down the track.
Okay, Gord, what about you here?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited, guys. I just JJ, I thought it was interesting that Mega Mia, it was a beautiful anchor on Pride of Jenny.
Yep.
Which meant that I could quite happily back the only horse in this race that was in my black book, which is number 1 Yearning. Okay. And then I'm looking, okay, well, if there's an anchor there with those two, Mega Mia and Pride of Jenny, I'm looking at these other lines. So I've got to have close looks at, well, obviously all horses in the race, but Yearning in the black book. So I've got to find a form reference with Yearning. And I found it there with that Argentea, who I considered the danger. And did you see that run? Where was it? Back at Caulfield last preparation, where Argentea finished in front of it. What race was that in?
Was the Kevin Hayes first up winner?
The Lavish Girl, was it?
The Lavish Girl race. The Lavish Girl race. Man, seriously, that was a biased track, man. Yearning's run was heaps better than Argentea's.
Yeah.
So, Argentia's or whatever you want to call it. Do you want me to get my pronunciation right on, because this is a show going out for free, Mark? On the paid ones, everybody knows I don't give a shit. They know what I'm talking about, but the free ones, maybe I'm going to get it right.
This is not just free, Gord. This is live.
Oh! Man, unload job. Number 1 Yearning. What a cracking return to racing that was. I loved it so. I've always had an opinion of this horse. Yard guys have always had an opinion of this horse. And I think that is the resumption of a horse that has finally ticked a few boxes. Love it when mares show form. Barrier 1, I always prefer 3, 4, 5. But
is he JJ? Do you think he's going to try and push up from gate 1? I hate gate 1 at Flemington 1400. Like, really hate it. Really, Flemington 1400 is the top of the pyramid there.
That's the coffin.
Mm.
Yeah. Thornton's pretty passive. I think he'll just flop out. I think can't see him trying to hold.
Well, it'll need a little bit of luck, but just to be honest, with the lines, the negative about some of the others in the market and the lines through it and my second selection just means I have to bet.
All right. Well, I hope we don't use this in our challenge on Saturday, Good, because I'll be arguing for the only last start winner in the race, in the mares race, the only last start winner who's a leader.
Hold on. The challenge on Saturday, we don't have to bet in Melbourne, do we?
No, we're betting in races we want to bet in.
Hold on. Is it? Are we allowed to bet in the 3rd New South Wales jurisdiction, Mark? Because
fuck yeah,
I'd say that'll put John Walter in a bit of trouble there. if you can let me bet in the 3rd New South Wales meeting.
All right, so Gord's very warm about Yearning there, which I'm glad you didn't go and tip Argentia there, Gord, because after your comments about D. Oliver, I thought that would just be a little bit too soon. What do you do with D. Oliver these days? One great rider that's probably just in his sinecure, Julian.
Yeah, I think he suits certain styles of horses. You don't want him on a go forward horse because he just wants to go too slow. He's obviously grand finals only as well, and staying events. So
all right,
you just got to pick the mark with him. That
sounds like a sensible approach. Race 5 is we're down the straight. We're back down the straight after the babies, of course, in the first race. And Giga Kick is a shade of odds against, $2.10 I've written here. Buenos Noches, which won on protest down the straight at the last meeting, the last Saturday meeting at Flemington, is $4.40. Duel, $8.50. Swiss Exile at $10. And I have the roughy Sun Tzu in the van here. Swiss Exile, Duel, and Zoo Sensation handy. Cannonball next on the map. What do you say about how these get along down the straight, Julian?
Yeah, there's a few that have pace, and I think there'll be 1100 up the straight. They'll be they'll be sort of.
No, they'll be doing
getting
what
on.
they normally do, JJ, which is just like nurse.
It's barrier
nurse,
trial.
like, bloody hell,
Barrier
I can't
trial.
stand these straight races.
Yeah, and yet it's a stalker's course, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's why they do it.
Yeah. How do you like the straight racing, Julian?
I used to be a lot keener on them, but less so that these days. I think
You've been greyed up.
Yeah, and when it used to be more right down the outside fence, that's what I preferred.
Yeah.
Now it's clump up, sort of in the middle, and just find that harder to map and pick the horses in the right spots.
Yeah,
But
it's actually weird. You know, like that baller the other day. You know when they clump up in the middle. I give a tick to the one that has to do it going inside rather than outside.
Definitely, we'll cover that race later on. But definitely that. Yeah, you have to expose yourself a little bit earlier. But then sometimes you got those horses coming down the outside and they look to be in the right spot, but because they've gone so steady early on, they don't seem to get.
The leader's got a kick, or the on-pace has got a kick. Yeah. Good. This is well, they're lightly raced horses here. I'll give you first crack at this one if you want.
Oh, you want? Oh, I'm allowed to go first, am I?
Well, just for a change.
Good. By the way, we haven't talked about this before, but that was pretty good timing because this number 3 gig is a dead set absolute Monty. I love the Barrow 11. I love the options. I love the fact that other horses in this race actually have better figures than it because those figures are not showing how much ability this horse has. This is the real deal, this horse. You notice its win last start. I got past Alpha One, who we've got some lines there in Sydney, which aren't sort of sensational, but...
Yeah, but didn't Alpha One run in the lead-up and just retired out of the race? Got beaten, I don't know how far it got beaten.
Yeah. And then watch the race and look at this thing, like keeping up easy, having to get back further than it needed to. It could have gone farther. It could have gone faster and expended even less energy and then extended like a really beautiful horse that last 50 metres. And how about the jump out? Jump out was dead set rock star.
Impressive, just circling them up.
Oh, man, under like no riding at all with a beautiful action, looked like a strong beast, happy to be on the good track and tick the Flemington straight form, which is the biggest thing ever because it's a couple back there. It was actually over 1,000 metres at Flemington, which has shown it can handle this. I'm pretty keen on this. I think it's a Monty. I did have a very close look at number 1, Swiss Exile, obviously. Go forward horse coming off the Superior Sydney stuff down in Mexico. But I didn't see enough there to entertain it, particularly when this number 3 Giga Kick is going on to better stuff.
Sound like you're a fan as well, Julian.
Yeah, I agree with Gord. Yeah, I think it just wins. Barry 11 keeps out of trouble, just tag the speed and produce. Has a sustained sprint, which you want up the straight. So I think this is the sort of tune up to then, go towards the Coolmore up the straight.
So, what did you price it, JJ? Because that's the important factor here. See, I mean, I tend to not price races, but
I had it even money.
Even money a bet, because I've got even money down as a bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to take the even money.
I know that sounds silly to some people out there. It's like, if you priced it even money, don't you need greater than that to back it?
I'm fairly flexible. I mean, I'm not rigid to say, okay, I've found this as favourite. It might be slightly under my assessed price, but I'll still
back it. I think that's a really good tip for people out there as well.
Of course, Swiss Exile you mentioned, Gord. It is probably pulling on the lead up, which is the Buenos Noches. We've seen Buenos Noches, who was a bit stiff behind Swiss Exile, but Swiss Exile being an on-pace horse, perhaps has more merit, especially coming back off a Sydney run. It seems like this is a consensus horse, this number 3 Giga Kick. Julian, I wanted to ask you about...
Hey, was he just trying to grey us up, JJ? Didn't he? Did you notice that? Bloody hell, now you're copping it too. Everybody's going to be supporting Mark and I soon. Sorry, Glenn and I soon, Mark.
So 3 weeks ago, we hopped into the opening race on the program, and Duel was sitting there at 6-4 favourite, and we were like going, yeah, it's like, it's a really interesting runner, blah blah blah. You got into the betting, and it was $5, and I saw that, and I went, wow, it has actually got no hope. Did you perceive any of that sort of market intelligence that realised that it was not what it appeared?
I'm just trying to recall that race. I don't think I had a bet in that. I think
it was a weird betting race because, as I say, Duel was like 6-4 on the Friday, and then it was $5. Sorry, $2.50, and then it was $5. An hour out from the race, and all they wanted to back was Alpha One, and it just seemed like an interesting insight into a horse that everyone was going, wow, it's like it's the testing material, but it's probably a touch short, and then all of a sudden, no one wanted a bar of it. Anyway,
this is just like great information out there, guys. And that is that, like, don't think, just bet. Number 3, everything's just looking beautiful.
Well, let's see if we can get Gord betting into the Bart Cummings, which does look a touch opaque. Interpretation. Shortest price in the lead up, $4.80. Desert Icon, 2 wins at Moonee Valley, $6. Darjan Sweet Junior, $7, getting up to its preferred range. Out to Vow and Declare, Lunar Flare, and High Emotion at $10. And this is the first leg of the quaddie. And as far as speed is concerned, I had Serpentine and Desert Icon going forward. San Huberto, Shiraz, and Aurora's Symphony not too far away, above average speed. Any map clues from you, JJ?
Yeah, agree with Desert Icon and Serpentine. Obviously, Serpentine went at a brutal pace last start.
Was that to perhaps get him fitter? He won the English Derby in the COVID. He won the COVID English Derby, and now he turns up in Australia a couple of years later as gelding.
Yeah. It's amazing. Won the Derby by 5.5 lengths. It's a trade of Lloyd Williams' owned horses to try to switch them on going forward, and I think again, sort of getting back on a dry track. I think they'll let it run again. So that probably undoes Desert Icon a little bit.
And have you got a clue as to this? It didn't. Well, from my cursory look, it didn't emerge.
Yeah, I mean, my market was fairly similar to the market, but I backed Interpretation last start and just thought it was a run short. Obviously, the winner here gets you into the Melbourne Cup. The only horse likely to get a run is Shiraz, so all the others are obviously trying, and I think sort of Interpretation peaks here third up. Thought it sort of stuck on well, but would come on a lot from there and sort of gets a nice soft run there.
J. Allen to C. Williams, what do you say about that?
Big tick.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does ride a lot of winners, J. Allen.
He does. I don't get on the right side of him.
It does look a really good setup. Actually, it does look a really good setup for this favourite because a long spell and then another 56 days between runs and ticking the 2,500 metre box. Shortest price in the lead up. It does have a fair amount of intent attached to it. So I'll definitely go with you there. Gordy, are you having this race off? It is a quaddie leg.
No, I'm actually betting. I'm betting just purely because Mara and Eustace are like the best distance trainers you've ever seen. Like, their figures are absolutely sensational, and their figures are sensational with the fact that the market's onto it as well. That shows how good you do. Like, you're doing your figures off POT, they're still great, even though everybody knows about it.
Yep.
Like, that's a great scenario. So I'm backing 2 horses. I'm backing number 9, High Emotion, which I like the fact that it's sort of this stage of its preparation, dominant winner last start. Don't mind Harry Coffey, actually, underrated as far as the market is concerned. And yet again, Mara and Eustace, beautiful, ticks the 2,500 metres, Flemington last start, lovely, double figure odds, lovely. Is it a distance race, so I can't get too excited? Yes. And the other one is the lightly raced horse that just might be better than these, and that's number 10, Interpretation. Now, Interpretation would have more upside off that defeat to High Emotion last start, but why not back them both? Like, one of them was a dominant winner. It's double figures, and the other has probably got more upside, and it's 4-1. So they're the two of interest in, yet again, a massively open race.
Yeah, so what if we're going to do some quaddy numbers for this? They both go in. Is there anything else you think you should include, Julian?
Yeah, number 8, Lunar Flare. So Lunar Flare has a win over High Emotion over 2,400. So I'd price that slightly shorter than High Emotion.
And the horse I mentioned earlier, Serpentine. Is there any reason to include it, or would it be? It's never to be backed. It's all right. Okay, so, all right, in the chair, very good. So quaddy numbers in the first leg, the Bart Cummings read 9 High Emotion, 8 Lunar Flare, 9 High Emotion, and 10 Interpretation.
I love it, JJ. I love it. You're getting aggressive in that first leg because you could have either taken 3 or 8. I'm not talking about numbers there. 3 runners or 8 runners. Distance racing is just madness.
Yep. Well, we've got a very steady-looking Turnbull Stakes, which I'm keen to bet into, but it doesn't look particularly high class. Although I suppose you've got the comfortable Australian Cup winner turning up here. Gold Trip is $3.80. Douay, who is the horse that I was referring to, the Australian Cup winner, is $5. Out to $11 Profondo, and then you've got another few there in the mid double figures: Young Werther, Inspirational Girl, Allegron, Surefire. The speed looks to be on, or honest at least, with Knight's Order, who he just has to get out and roll because they are actually quicker than him. They've got more of a sprint than him, so he needs to try and get them off the bit. Profundo, Numerian, and Milford I have on speed. Next best, Surefire, looking to get in. Smoking Romans on the rails. What do you say about the map, JJ?
Yeah, I thought those would go forward, and then that's a big question around Gold Trip, whether they roll forward as well, and if there's a spot somewhere there. Otherwise, sort of having to go right back. So tricky little spot there, I thought.
Okay, and how do you assess the horse in this race?
I'm not a weights person, so the theme every year for the Turnbulls, those horses that get in underweight for age. But yeah, I was keen on Douay. Back to Flemington, dry. Happy to bet up. Had it around the $4 mark. All
right, so scene of the crime. This is she's third up. She came down here for the 14, and then she went back up to Sydney for a muddling run mile, and here she is back at the scene of the crime. I can see the appeal.
Yeah, and obviously Gold Trip. I mean, obviously has lots of ability. The market support already. Could Mar Eustace have it right now? I was very keen last start, and I was really
talk us through the run then, because I mean it is a, it's a key talking point, I suppose. Was it just having a prep run in that race?
Well, it had to run a place to qualify it for the Caulfield Cup if it wanted to run. So it ticked that box by running a place, but I thought it had him cold at the 200-metre mark and would have pulled away. And by all reports, the heavy going was not an issue. So all I can think of, it's brought it on, and those little niggling feet issues and leg issues that it's had, it's ready to do something. But I was still really disappointed and sort of preferred the proven Flemington Group 1 horse.
Yeah, they do say that, this is hearsay, that French horses just live in mud all their lives, and so they come over here as very proficient in the ground. Maybe it's all that Somme mud Gord, the stuff that the soldiers were mired in the First and Second World Wars.
I hear the farming in that area of the world is fantastic. Actually, there's so much blood and bone, Mark. Blood and bone everywhere.
All right, Gord, you were a Gold Trip man last start. What are you doing with it here?
Yeah, I'm staying, but I was expecting a better price. 7 weeks off, 15 to 2,000 on a wet track. I can forgive that sort of being a little bit soft late. I mean, people like me, sort of like, I was expecting it to win, so was I disappointed slightly? Yes. Have I found reasons to forgive it? Yes. I mean, we're 60 down to 54.5 when you were fresh from 15 to 2,000. That's got to be fair a give for looming like a good horse and maybe not just getting it done late. Saying that, I mean, I was expecting $5, not $3.60. And there's 2 other horses of interest for me, and I think there is only 3 chances. The other one is number 2, Douay, which JJ's mentioned.
Quite strongly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, have a look at the pattern, but guys, like, I'll just bring it up. Like, the pattern is just beautiful. I mean, JJ talked about
except that before its Australian Cup run last preparation,
it was
just no, it was climbing all over them. It was just, it was the needed a helicopter at Randwick.
But I mean, the stable knows that, Mark. They're like, okay, bang, 1,400, 1,600 meters, 2,000 at Flemington. That's when it did its best ever figure.
It's a Cummings family special, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It's genetic, mate, with that mold. So it's a horse of interest. But Mark, great point. And I was thinking the same thing. I am slightly scared that it runs before that beautiful performance at Flemington on the 12th of the 3rd, 22. There was more value in its lead-up runs. Otherwise, I'd be close to stamping it, Mark, if it did similar to what it had done previously. And the other one who is just running like an absolute bloody legend at the moment is number 3, Numerian. Now, it's 20 to 1. It's I'd suggest a go forward horse, going from Sydney to Melbourne, where the pace is less likely to be so strong. It's an easy bet for me. I like the fact that she gave it a little bit of trial. And it's just been doing these really consistent figures that are close to good enough if the other 2 don't absolutely peak. And there's reasons why they might for it to win this race, and we get odds to find out about it. So, I'm 12 from 2 from 3.
All right, so I'm going to throw another 2 horses at you. Julian, haven't we often seen in this race the Waller, usually second string because Winks ran around in it a couple of times? They just seem to, it seems to be a point in their preparation where they just, look better than they are. I just forget which ordinary Waller horses I'm thinking of, but
well, there's a lot of them, Mark. I don't blame you for forgetting.
But Surefire has got form around Knight's Order and Numerian, and was ridden atrociously 2 starts back, and then was put to the sword last start. So Bishin climbs aboard here, and he's just going to find a nice little just ahead of midfield position. It's going to do something. And the other one is the horse out of the Douay lead up. There are a couple, but Maximal, which was restrained and back on the rails in the slower ground, in my opinion, in the Animo George Main. I expect it to be able to do something with Ben Melham on board. So they're 2.
Well, Mark, I totally agree with you. We should definitely throw them in the quaddie. The thing is that Ben's told me when I break up with a girlfriend, I've got to stay broken up.
That's you. That's you.
I love it, guys. What this Surefire did its first start, this preparation, was absolutely dynamic. And Mark's found a reason to say it's going to peak on this occasion, so that's very interesting.
All right, so are we leaving the favourite out of the quaddie?
Who's the favourite?
Gold Trip.
Oh, God, no. Oh, you guys can overrule me. This is a democracy.
All right. Okay. So that means we've got a largish ticket because I'm insisting on my 2. And
no, Mark. It's less relevant when you're putting a lot of numbers in. I've told you this before because the percentage difference is less. So if you're going from 1 runner to 2 runners, that is significant because it's 100% less. If
yes,
you're going from 5 to 6. Yeah.
Yep. No, you have explained that before. All right. So 2, Douay, 3, Numerian, 12, Gold Trip, 15, Maximal, and 16, Surefire. Well, I've had enough of Profundo, and I know they'll be talking about going to a
Dry track.
firm surface, but
I mean, how many chances are it going to get? Come on, seriously.
well, one on a dry track. But anyway,
Yeah.
the penultimate is back down the straight. Is it the Gilgai or the what's this race called, JJ?
Yeah, the Gilgai, or I call it the Chong Tong Stakes, when Chong Tong won it back in the
And you're
late
still
90s.
counting your money, are you?
Yeah.
Well, that's a sweet memory, isn't it? I like those. Swat's that, who ran down the straight last time we did a Flemington preview, $6. Rock and Horse $7.50. A Thelric down from Sydney is $7.50. It's Our Time $9. Private Eye first up $10. Borlo won the lead up $10. Camel Pass at $10. The Astrologist $11. It's a dense market. It looks to be above average pace. The Astrologist definitely likes to lead. I have Serious Suspect, who's fresh. Thelric and Camel Pass are handy. Rock and Horse next best. Any map comments there, JJ, before you get on to whatever you are tackling?
No, that's the same as I had it. Yeah. Quick question for you both. So Private Eye, so undefeated, first up on dry tracks. Where's it being aimed at? Mile races or keeping it fresh?
Well, it's interesting how, because he ran well in the Stradbrag, he struggled with him last preparation, and because he managed to get him to run well in those 2 shorter Brisbane races, he certainly won't go past a mile this preparation. But what sort of 1400 metre race would you aim this horse at? Because there's no hot 1400 metre race.
No, not for him. He'll be carrying big weights in sort of. There's a couple.
Yeah,
of
Group 3 races. Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, touched on earlier about running up the straight. I'm sort of stuck with the leader, the feed-in race from Flemington. So I had Baller and Rock and Horse, mark them both equal favourites. And
Well, can we say now that Rock and Horse has had 2 runs down the straight? He's been in the finish twice, so obviously he's a straight specialist. Is that 2 points of data, Gord? Is that enough?
Well, that's something. I'd like an infinite number of races down the straight, Mark, but I don't think I'll be able to manage it.
All right. So I butted in there, JJ. You got them equal favourites.
yeah, equal favourites, and just at the better price, I'm going to be backing Baller. So Gord touched on a little bit. I was against it when it won last start, coming from Barrier 1.
Yeah.
It was exposed early, sprinted and really toughed it out. So we'll get a much more economic run here. Can cuddle up his shin like him on the horse, and I thought he was the bet in this race.
Isn't this an Everest lead up this race? If you're desperate, you're
Come
looking.
on.
Didn't they pick something out of this?
They
picked some.
So it was a Thelric the Godolphin candidate then?
What I'm saying, Joe, is I didn't realise there was a bonus for coming last in the Everest.
No, but they have parachuted horses out of this race, and the Caulfield 1100, I think, the week later.
Desperate to find it.
Yeah. Well, isn't Shades of Rose, isn't it, getting into the Everest?
Got a gig. Yeah. Hey, so Bjorn's gone from having none, he's got 2 now. Oh no, Shades of Rose is bloody. What's he?
Yeah, Bjorn. Yeah.
So they desperately want to get overpassing, and next thing you know, they got another ticket. Bloody hell, it's bloody Chinese every night over there now.
Pretty good.
Anything? I was against what's that. I just bit of a pack chaser, and I thought I had every chance last start, and I thought Ball and Rock and Horse were better runs. What is
the boom on What's that? It's got this. Is it just because it's relatively lightly raced and it had a bit of a it hasn't won for a while now.
Fourth in the Lightning, yeah. It's Gord can have a look at the ratings, but it's got some big spikes down the straight.
Figure, 4th up at Flemington over 1200. So that's it. So it's like lightly raced and a big figure. It tends to be very hypey.
Mm-hmm.
And then had the stable change first up.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you doing here, Gord?
Well, I think it was a lovely race to watch, wasn't it? Baller and Rockin' Horse. Now, Jesus Christ, JJ, at like the 55 to 25 metre mark there, I was going to go like, how is Rich and Rockin' Horse ever going to beat Baller ever again? But Jesus, it sort of was a bit tough late, wasn't it? So it was like I got to give the tick to Baller because of the reasons you mentioned, but I couldn't pen Rockin' Horse either. You know what I mean? I had to admit that it was a chance. Saying that, I'm not going to back it. Okay, I'm going to back two horses, and I'm very comfortable with my positions here. I'm going to back number 1, Private Eye, and number 2, Baller, and I'm more keen on Private Eye than I am on Baller. Lovely trials. 1,200 metres is this horse's go.
And this is the new Pearl as well, Gord. It's last start Brisbane.
And not just last start Brisbane. Let's have a look at those lines, Mark. Alligator Blood, okay, beats it, and it finishes 2 lengths in front of a horse called Rossfire. And they beat all the best cattle that's down in Melbourne. Why the hell wouldn't we back this thing when it's got a beautiful, fresh record, no problems with the good track, and by the way, a really sneaky, beautiful trial. I know it only came 6th and 9th there in that last trial at Warwick Farm, but it was very nice. Not under hard riding at all and extended quite nicely.
I'm with you, Gordon.
I'm interested in 1 and 2. I'm scared of 6. And I totally agree with JJ. If Swapsat wins, it's just one of those scenarios where I just go, I'm going to lose. And I'm happy to lose if it wins.
Okay, so it's 1 Private Eye, 2 Baller, 6 Rockin' Horse in the quaddie. Do we need anyone else?
Not for me. I mean,
Mark,
you guys might have Mark, you probably have an opinion on Ethelric. I mean, I was against it. It's
1,200 metres. It's not a 1,200 metre horse.
Yeah, I was against it as well.
Yeah.
It did win a cheeky 3-year-old race on the same day that Baller ran around in the group race at Eagle.
I mean, everybody's saying 3.7 lengths nature strip, blah blah blah, like the Rockstar stuff. I think there's a lot less to that than the price is indicated.
Barrier trials.
Well,
Yeah. Don't worry, he's got another barrier trial in a couple of weeks. It's called the Everest. The nightcap.
Oh, you're getting even keener on nature strip, are you now, Mark?
I've never been keen on nature strip. I'm just sick to the teeth that there's not a race. All right, the nightcap is over 1,800. It is I'm going to call this a benchmark 64. It's that's what it is. It's just it's one of those Derby and there's a couple of fillies in there, maybe an Oaks lead up. It's a battlers race. Art Zeno is $4.80, Mr. Maestro at $5, Major Beale, Gaybot $7.50, Kapakiri $7.50, Cadazio $8.50, Red Sun Sensation $9. We haven't worked out whether Pavitra is in the flight stakes or in this race yet, unless someone knows something that I don't know. Speed is average by the looks of it. Markaloo, which is the Reduced Choice Annabelle Neesham horse, in the van here at the long odds off the Newcastle form from Major Beale, which would probably try and lead. I have Pavitra, Mr. Maestro, and Kapakiri. Handy-ish, but not a lot happening. What did you say, JJ?
Yeah, it's really just how quick they want to go on Major Beale. Obviously, just a one batter.
We need to go really quick, don't they? I mean, it's just it can't, it's just got no sprint, has it?
Yep. So that's that'll be the pace influence.
And did you take a shine to this race, or was it one that you were perhaps hopefully counting your money by the time you got to this?
Yeah, I had to have Artzino on top. Obviously, I mean, your Pearl mark of looking for the NZ bred, there's half of the field there.
Yep.
This has the right breeding, right connections. But obviously,
Zara to Oliver. So how does he? What are you saying about Oliver on this horse?
Prefer Zara any day of the week. But yeah, I just thought, awkward map from 11, and then I just threw out that 1800 lead up on the heavy track as well. All those horses tied together. So I went looking for DF at a big price, Dream Hour. So coming out of a sale maiden win.
As I say, it's a benchmark 64. There's no problem there.
Yeah. So I thought at the price 30 to 1. I'm going to have something on that. Just the DF from the family of Skybow. It's an out and out stayer. So yeah.
It sounds like that might be another happy memory, is it? Skybow, are you old enough or not?
Yeah. The old Count Shivers and Skybow and Saintly.
The old marvels. Hey?
Yeah.
Gord, are you passing on this one?
No, I'd love to bet.
This will be the. This might be the. We put Jay Walter to the sword race then. If we haven't already.
I don't know. I might be very busy because I'm betting in 5 locations. So if I've got enough time to talk to you during the day, Mark, I'll give it a shot. But I really love what JJ says about this Dream Eye. This is a fantastic 30 to 1 shot. What about the fact that it was gelded after that first run, JJ, and then comes out with a massive figure? Yet again, these 3-year-olds were always looking for new blood. It's very interesting. I would have liked to see a bit more of a margin. But I mean, maybe it does have a lot of upside from the 14 to 18. Saying that, I don't have it on top. It was actually a really strange race for me because my starting position was, this price Kent horse with Oliver on it is going to be so short in the market. I'm going to be finding all this great value outside of it. And I've decided it's a moral. So I am massively keen on number 4. Entertain, a 1/6 on Dream Honor because it might do something. And I was going to go against the Major Bill, Mr. Maestro, lead up, purely like similar to that race I was analysing earlier on, where you had the one horse doing the work and the other horse maybe getting a little bit softer, and I couldn't really separate them, and they were taking up what? They're taking up like 35% of the market or something like that. And another thing too, Mark, which we've been talking about as far as the Sydney 3-year-olds and everywhere, we're looking for fresh blood. These are the 2 with fresh blood, particularly number 4. Guys, have a look at the lines through Ferrari Man and some of the other horses that Art Zeno has beaten recently. It came out, I think JJ won by 6 lengths at the next start and ran around at about $1.40 or something like that. A Gay Waterhouse horse.
Yep.
Then there was another line through the 3rd horse there, which has come out and run in like a proper race. Berardino or whatever.
Yep, that's in this race. Yep.
Yeah.
Hasn't this got a chance, Berardino? I mean, it snuck in an extra run, went back to the 1400 just to tighten it up, ready for the 1800. So it's gone 12, 15, 14, 18. Ben Melham gets back on board, and obviously it was close up and close in the betting to Art Zeno when they clashed.
I think that's a very good point, Mark. Yes, I agree with you. But I just, like, off style and upside, Art Zeno is the one, and the other 2 that JJ and Mark, it sounded like Mark was keen on, look like good bets as well. Yeah.
Damien Oliver just worries the shit out of me. It is Zara D. Oliver. That's a bit of a disastrous jockey change. If you're into that sort of thing.
Like, Mark, wouldn't you put D. Oliver? JJ, you'd be the same. Like, you bet in Sydney as well. D. Oliver is kind of like Kieran McEvoy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes to grand final day, they wake up. You know?
Agree.
Someone taps them on the shoulder. Well, no, they're going, hang on, there's all these Group 1s coming up. I better say I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, and I've got an ego.
All right, so that's the last race. As far as the quaddy numbers, are we leaving that Major Bill lead up? Who's the winner of that race?
That's up to you guys, because it clearly is the superior, the stronger form.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah.
That's just the question.
I'd leave him out.
Officially.
Yeah, okay, because it was disgusting what Mr. Maestro did at Moonee Valley, the way he dropped off there at the, they got along, hard enough, and then he couldn't keep up at the 800, and was coming again when they were all falling over. It was a run of a horse that wanted 2 miles. Anyway, all right. So for Art Zeno, 8 Dream Hour, and 12 Berardino.
And then could we put in 7 as well? I just thought.
Yeah. That is interesting, isn't it? Well, obviously that Newcastle run. And
but it'll be on the firmest track it's been on, and you know what Glenn says about Ridge's Choice, Gord.
Yep.
But it's not just that, Mark. I always back provincial winners or good runs going to Melbourne when they're lightly raced as 3-year-olds.
Well, this also had a big spruik on it before
profitable.
it went to Newcastle its first date, because it was in at Hawkesbury at the Saturday meeting the same day.
Yep.
In that Owen County race, not the the Gaybot Burgunder beat Basquiat. That race. This horse was favourite in that race.
And it's 50-1.
It shouldn't be 50-1. That's ridiculous. All right, so we're putting in number 7 as well. So recapping there, it's 4 Artzino, 7 Macaloo, 8 Dream Hour, and 12 Berardino. All right, hot seat time now, JJ. What horses are you keenest on the card?
Race 2, Visionary. Giga Kick will win race 5.
You're channeling your inner Gord here, aren't you?
Yep.
Shorties.
Happy to back Interpretation, Duace, and Baller at the odds.
Okay, sounds good. Gord, do you want to?
I'll tell you what. If the legs landed in the right way, Mark, Jesus, this quaddie could be 100,000. Some of the horses we've got in there. So all you people that are watching right now, you're not allowed to put a quaddie on with those numbers. You have to leave that to me. Or if you are going to put it on, you've got to do it with the corporate and not into the total Ursula pools, please. Okay.
All right, Gord. Is there anything you want us to offer us in terms of what you really like on the card?
Race 4, number 1, Yearning. Race 5, number 3, Giga Kick is just me written all over it. Love the fact that JJ agrees with that as well, because he's got more of a feel for the other Melbourne stuff that I'm not quite so familiar with. Race 8, I'm quite happy to play that bracket 1 and 2, Private Eye and Baller. And race 9, I'm keen on number 4, Artzino. But the two primary, look, if Giga Kick wins, I'll win on the day. And then I'll have a great day if Yearning wins, and the others will just be cream on top.
Sounds good. All right, well, thanks for watching. And if you've not tried us before, there is 2 weeks free you'd be better to try the gold stuff, because that's the full package. And just sign up on site or click through the link that you'll see on this screen, and you'll get to sample some of the best information hub you've ever seen, plus a chat room alive with winner backers. One of them, which is Gord, and JJ's in the chat room as well. So it's full of people that have an idea and are good to communicate with, get around, and it's certainly a valuable resource. So I'd get involved.
Great info in there.
Yeah, right. Some great guys, and good positive community. It's really good.
All right. Well, thanks again, Julian, for coming on. I'm sure we'll see you again during the spring, and I hope it goes well for you on Saturday. And